Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Technique Tuesday. I had a question sent through to me via Messenger on Instagram where somebody asked, Matt, I do Sumo Deadlift Highpulls in my workout at my gym, which is not here. I get shoulder pain every time I do the movement. Can you help me with some exercises to help so that I don't get shoulder pain when I do this particular movement? Before I get onto what this Technique Tuesday is actually going to be about, which you'll be able to see from the title, I just want to say a few things. If you are getting shoulder pain when you are doing a movement, there's probably a good chance that you should stop doing that movement and try and work out why you are getting the shoulder pain. Okay, if there is something underlying, if there is an underlying issue that needs to be addressed, you need to make sure you address that first. Okay, and you probably need to stop doing the movement and build up that shoulder stability before you start recommencing doing the movement. So that's step one. So again, as we've said in previous Technique Tuesdays, context is important. However, today is more about the Sumo Deadlift High Pull itself and the movement itself. And the fact is the movement is stupid. It is a movement that you should throw out of your training program, full stop, end of story, and here's why. Rather than me just calling it stupid, I'm going to tell you why. The sumo deadlift itself isn't so bad. The sumo deadlift for a lot of people is actually a way where they can deadlift, which is probably a little bit more comfortable than a conventional deadlift. If we look at the high pull portion of the movement, which is where my real problem is with this movement, when we are high pulling, especially with a narrow grip, what happens when we are trying to get that bar up to our chin is our shoulders are going to go into an internally rotated position. It doesn't matter how strong your shoulders are, just because of the mechanics of the movement, they have to roll it into an internally rotated position. And the problem is when the head of my shoulder starts to get in front of my scapula, this is an unstable position for my shoulder joint. Now the shoulder joint is one of the only joints in your body where you have full articulation of the joint, but there are not a lot of big muscles surrounding it that are going to keep that thing stable, especially when it becomes internally rotated. We use our lats, we use our scapula to keep that stability there. So when I am pulling a barbell to my chin with a narrow grip, I've got no choice but to go internally rotated. So it doesn't matter how stable your shoulders are, you are probably at some point going to end up with a minimum shoulder pain, if not some form of impingement, rotator cuff issues. I could write a laundry list of things that are going to happen just due to the mechanics of this movement. The fact is the movement is stupid and is something you should just throw out completely. Now, rather than just tell you not to do it, what can you do instead? Well, there are a few things that I've been told by people who like this movement as to what they are trying to achieve from it. Number one is they're trying to achieve hip extension. It's teaching people how to extend the hips as they come through the deadlift portion into the high pull. Well, guess what? We've got plenty of other things we can do with stable shoulders that are going to teach us hip extension as well. Number one would be a kettlebell swing. Guess what I don't have to do in a kettlebell swing? I can set my shoulders in a good position, think about pulling those shoulder blades down to my back pocket, and work on that hip extension that we're trying to do instead of doing a stupid deadlift high pull. The other thing, and one of my personal favorites, which is still getting us into a squat or a sumo deadlift position, is actually doing a reverse med ball toss. So if you haven't done, we've done some videos on this before in our hang clean, hang power clean substitutes. Using a medicine ball from the floor, I'm going to squat down in more of a sumo stance, and what I want to do is I'm going to throw that medicine ball as high and as far behind me as I can. Up and over. With that, again, I can set my shoulders in a good position as I go through and as I do that nice violent pull, that nice violent hip extension. The other thing, and another reason why people do high pulls or sumo deadlift high pulls, is to strengthen up those shoulders. Well, guess what? I've got some movements you can do without putting your shoulders into a shitty position to strengthen your shoulders, especially if you're looking to, we can get some nice plates, we can do some lateral raises, we can do some anterior raises, some reverse flies, and the whole time we're doing that, we can keep those shoulders in a good position. There are plenty of movements you can do instead of doing a sumo deadlift high pull. So in answer to your question, You can do some lateral raises, some reverse flies, some anterior raises to try and strengthen up that shoulder joint. But my number one piece of advice to you, if you are getting sore shoulders while you are doing a sumo deadlift high pull, stop doing them. In fact, if you're not getting sore shoulders from them, you should probably stop doing them anyway. That's it. Thanks again. If you enjoyed it, like, share, tell a friend. If you didn't, sorry, but we'll see you next week. Bye.